Hello and welcome to another installation of me giving you a lesson from beyond the beyond. Uh, I hope that everything's good. I hope that everything's working. And I hope that we get through 3.8. It's not that long of a section, and it's fairly understandable. In fact, half of the section you've already kind of done, and it's just taking that section, which is 3.7, the last one we did, and working it together with this new section. I'd like to review just a little bit 3.7 actually. So turn back to 3.7 if you haven't already. And I want to make sure that you remember some of these things. Important parts of cell respiration. Okay? The fact is that cell respiration is all about this. It's all about glucose and oxygen. That is not my highlighter. Where is my highlighter? Ah, highlighter. Yeah. It's all about glucose getting into the mitochondria from what you eat, plus oxygen getting into the mitochondria from what you breathe, leading to carbon dioxide, plus water, plus usable energy. The usable energy is in the form of ATP. That's the important thing that you make. Very slow. The important thing that you make. And you also make carbon dioxide and water, which you breathe out, and you either sweat out or pee out or breathe out or use. That water can be used as well. This all happens in a mitochondrion. Oops. And oh, it's awfully slow. It all happens in a mitochondrion. So these are the things that you need to know for 3.8 as well. So turn to page 3.8. And I will too. Okay. So, section 3.8. Summarize the relationship between photosynthesis and cell respiration. And in parentheses, they call it the oxygen-carbon dioxide cycle. Well, there's a relationship, as you can see, between cell respiration and photosynthesis. You know a little bit about photosynthesis from previous years. Oh, photosynthesis. It's how plants make food. But what does that really mean? It's how plants make food. And what does this have to do with cell respiration? So we're going to look into this a little bit now. You've already looked into cell respiration. Cell respiration is what we looked at just yesterday, and it's what I just went over for the first couple minutes of the period today. Cell respiration is important to us as animals, but it's actually also important to plants too. We're going to look at the relationship between that and photosynthesis. Wow, it's really slow. Okay. From 3 minutes ago, you remember that glucose plus oxygen makes carbon dioxide, water, and usable energy. That's the cell respiration equation. That's the chemical reaction that happens in your mitochondria that makes cell respiration. Animal cells do this. It's called respiration. We eat sugar and we turn it into ATP. But what do plants do? Plants don't eat their glucose. They don't get their glucose from eating food. Okay? What they do is they make their own glucose. They make their own glucose in a process called photosynthesis. So, plants make their own glucose, and they do that through photosynthesis. And photosynthesis looks a lot like this. Whoa, don't want so far. Going back just a little. Oh, this is going to be a pain. What they do is they take carbon dioxide. Remember, that's what we breathe out. So they take carbon dioxide. They take that in through their leaves. And then they take water. And they get that through their roots. And they, through the magic of sunlight, which I could make like a big yellow sun right here. Oh, the sun. Through the process of sunlight. I'll even write sun right there. And chlorophyll, but I'm not going to write down chlorophyll. But through the use of sunlight, it takes carbon dioxide and water, and it mixes them together, reacts them together to make glucose and oxygen. Right here and right here. So it makes glucose and oxygen. Now this may look a little familiar. If we just come up a little bit to here, we notice that we use glucose and oxygen to make ATP. Plants make glucose and oxygen down here, and we use glucose and oxygen. That means that they make what we need. Yes, they make what we need. Interestingly enough, I noticed something else up here for cell respiration. Sure, we use glucose and oxygen, and we make carbon dioxide and water and usable energy. Carbon dioxide and water. This looks familiar. This looks a lot like that looks a lot like this. So it looks a lot like what plants need. So what we make, plants need, and what we need, plants make. And that's kind of the beautiful part of this whole thing, as we see this whole thing materialize here very slowly. What we make, they need, and what they make, we need. And this is what's going to be said underneath the pretty little flowered line right here. Photosynthesis. Carbon dioxide and water make glucose and oxygen. Respiration. Squished. Glucose and oxygen make carbon dioxide and water, plus ATP. Respiration and photosynthesis, in other words, are the opposites of each other. More importantly, wow, it's all important. So important that I'm going to take the time to get this here. Photosynthesis and respiration are the opposites of each other. Oh, come on. This is almost unusable. More importantly, what one makes, the other one uses. And what one needs, the other one makes. Now think about that. We live on this wonderful earth where there's things that live on it that help each other to live. It's not like everybody's competing with everybody. I mean, there is competition, but there's also an understanding amongst the living things on this earth that this evolution of things through time has made this understanding that we're going to make something that you need, and you're going to make something that we need, and we're going to live sort of off of each other and help each other in ways. It's not all going to be competition. There's some cooperation out there. In fact, there's a lot. What one makes, the other one uses. What plants make, we use. And what we as animals make, what animals make, plants use. So in other words, trees make sugar and oxygen so that we may live. And we make carbon dioxide, animals, and water so that they may live. And how perfect is that? Pretty darn perfect, if you ask me. That's pretty much all 3-8. What I want you to understand is that these two things, photosynthesis and respiration, are the opposites of each other. I am going to go a little further, just to make sure that you understand this. I'm going to first say that animals don't make all of the carbon dioxide and the water that plants need. Plants get carbon dioxide and water from all sorts of other different places too. So it's not like if animals died off, so would plants. Plants would still find places to get carbon dioxide. Plants would still find places to get water. It's not like we make all of it for them. Okay? Secondly, it's not quite accurate to say that plants make glucose and oxygen for animals. Plants also need to do cell respiration. So plants are really making glucose and oxygen for themselves. Believe it or not, plants need oxygen as well. During the sunlight, during the day, they collect the sunlight and do photosynthesis. They take their carbon dioxide and their water, and through the power of the sun, they turn it into glucose and oxygen. And then, here's the dirty little secret that science teachers don't usually tell people. At night, there's a different reaction that happens. It's cell respiration. When there's no light out, and all they have is glucose and oxygen that they made from that day, they take their glucose and oxygen, and they do cell respiration to make energy for their cells. Now, they don't use all their glucose and oxygen. They use some of it, and some of it they store. They store their glucose in things like fruit and stuff. Fruit has glucose, it has sugars in it. This tastes good. And then they take their excess oxygen and they put that off into the air. We need that oxygen. And so we use that. But actually, plants do photosynthesis and respiration. They just make the glucose that they use and then to burn to make ATP. We just do respiration. We don't do glucose. So they actually have a little more of a complicated thing going on than we do. We just find glucose, find oxygen, eat them, breathe them in, make the CO2 and the H2O and the ATP. They actually make glucose and oxygen and then use those glucose and oxygen during the nighttime typically to do cell respiration to make CO2, H2O, and ATP. We all make ATP. It's just that we make ATP through eating our glucose and breathing our oxygen. They make ATP through making their glucose and making their oxygen. Okay? But ultimately, what I and every other, what I want you to understand is what I know the state wants you to understand. And it's what, the CMTs want you to understand. And that's that photosynthesis and respiration are sort of the opposites of each other. They complement each other. What one makes, the other one uses. And what one needs, the other one makes. And that, basically, is 3-8. Let me see if I can draw it for you. I don't know if this is going to work. Let me extend the page a little bit. Let me draw a picture just for fun. It's a beautiful grassy day. This is going to take forever. I hope you guys draw as slow as I do. And what we're going to do is we're going to take our pen and make a tree. And here's our tree. Hopefully everybody's day is going well. So that tree is a plant, and because it's a plant, it does photosynthesis. Over here next to the tree is a cow, which is hard to draw when you can't exactly see where everything is going. That is no cow. But it is going to be as close a cow as we come. Yes. Which is the front and which is the rear? That's what I'm trying to figure out right now. And I don't know, let's make this the front, because I didn't think it was going to be the front. So here's the cow, and here's the fangs, and there we go. Okay, big fanged cow, and the tree. So the tree lets out oxygen, O2, and the tree makes glucose, G period for glucose. This oxygen will then get breathed in by the animal, and the glucose gets eaten by the animal. So those both go into the animal. We use those oxygen and glucose to make carbon dioxide, water, and ATP. We keep the ATP, but we breathe out, and I'll make that red, we'll breathe out the carbon dioxide, CO2. The trees bring that in. The trees breathe in the carbon dioxide. We also make water, and maybe we pee it out, let's say. So I'm going to make little tinklings of water right here. Drip, 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 drip. The water gets into the ground and gets sucked up by the tree so that the tree has H2O. And then it uses that H2O and the CO2 to make the glucose and the oxygen that we eat and breathe in. And then that is what makes the ATP for us. We, in turn, make the carbon dioxide that goes into the tree. I forgot to make it go into the tree, this little arrow. And also the water that goes into the tree as well. Okay. I have no idea if that actually helped anyone at all. But hopefully you can see how two things go into the tree, into the plant, and two things go into the animal. And what happens is that both of those things, well, both of those pairs of things need each other. We take the we take the oxygen and the glucose and make carbon dioxide and water out of it. The plant takes carbon dioxide and water and makes oxygen and glucose out of it. For us. I'm going to try one more thing. I'm not sure what I should do here. Here's photosynthesis. P colon. CO2, right, plus H2O lead to glucose and oxygen. Okay. That's photosynthesis. Now watch what I do with cell respiration. Cell respiration. CO2. Actually, I'm going to do, you know what I'm going to do? I'm not going to do it. Yes, I am. All right. Get out of here. All right. Cell respiration. Watch this. This is going to blow your mind. CO2. And I'm going to start with ATP. ATP plus, plus CO2 plus H2O lead to glucose plus, oh, and I did this wrong. When I say lead to, I don't mean that. I mean come from. Probably isn't working. Glucose plus oxygen. Stay with me, everybody. Now, I'm going to try to move this. No, it doesn't want to move, of course. Maybe it's because I'm on this. Okay, watch. See that? Oh, come back, come back. All right, good enough. All right. Carbon dioxide and water. This is photosynthesis. Carbon dioxide and water make glucose and oxygen to do cell respiration. Glucose and oxygen make carbon dioxide and water and ATP. Can you see the cycle here? So if I draw little lines, I want arrows. Those aren't going to work. Maybe this will work. How about this one? This one. Huh? Are these arrows? Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay. Carbon dioxide and water make glucose and oxygen in photosynthesis. These two things make carbon dioxide and water, which makes glucose and oxygen, which makes carbon dioxide and water. Plants make glucose and oxygen, which get given to animals. Animals take the glucose and oxygen and use it to make carbon dioxide and water, which then go to plants. Plants use the carbon dioxide and water to make glucose and oxygen, which then get given to animals that do cell respiration, glucose and oxygen, to make carbon dioxide and water, and so on and so forth, around and around in a big circle. And that's pretty much what I want you to understand from this, is that there's this big cycle. If you look at the top of your paper while you wait for the cycle, if you look at the top of the paper, you'll see that it says something about a cycle. The oxygen-carbon dioxide cycle. This is the oxygen-carbon dioxide cycle. Follow the arrows. All I did was take the cell respiration formula and flip it. I just flipped it around, like just did a mirror image of it, like that. And so you start over here with glucose and oxygen, and then you read it the opposite way. You read it to the left, and you follow the arrow to the left to make carbon dioxide and water. And then the carbon dioxide and water in photosynthesis, you read it to the right. So this whole cycle is the oxygen-carbon dioxide cycle. And that's the relationship between photosynthesis and cell respiration. I'm not going to go into this anymore. I think I've done it to death. I probably would have finished within 20 minutes, and it's now coming close to 25 because of the length of time that it took to draw stuff and to write stuff. So I'm going to stop right here. here's what will happen. Tomorrow, Friday, I will come back and hopefully come back, and I will go over this very quicker. I will answer any questions that you may have. What you should do between now and tomorrow is study. I want you to study and come up with questions, because tomorrow I don't plan on staying on 3.7 and 3.8 for too long. I'm going to go on to 3.9. So you're going to want to ask any question you can at the beginning of the period. Have them ready. Because the rest of the period is going to be about 3.9. I'm probably going to only do 3.7 and 3.8 for a while. Then I'm going to stop. We're going to go on to 3.9. On Monday, there will be a quiz on 3.7 and 3.8. Okay? The rest of Monday we'll probably finish 3.9 and go on to 3.10, and so on and so forth. So hopefully by the middle of the week, we will have finished 3.10, and that's the last of the threes. And we'll start getting ready for the Unit 3 test probably in the middle of the week, and maybe a week from this Monday we'll take that we'll take the Unit 3 test, and then we'll start on the 4s. So anyway, look over 3.7 and 3.8 between now and tomorrow. We'll go over it a little bit tomorrow, and then you'll study over the weekend for the quiz on Monday. All right. Have a good remainder of the period. I will. I expect everybody to have listened well to this and to take part in the reading of whatever article the substitute teacher feels or deems interesting or applicable for you. Okay? Have a good day. Bye.